Picher, Oklahoma had 2,000 people. Today, almost none. Walk down the main street now and all you hear is wind. Doors hanging open, nobody home. This isn't a ghost story. It's real. It's in county records. It's in old newspapers. And Picher is just one of 10 towns like this on Route 66. By the end of this video, you'll know what really happened here, and where the other 9 are hiding. That's Picher, the town from the opening. Just one stop on a road you think you already know. Here's the problem. Most Route 66 videos show you diners, neon signs, classic cars. That's the fun version. It's not the real one. If you only see the pretty side, you miss the truth. You miss why these towns died. You miss what they can teach you. That's what this video fixes. I've spent years digging through county courthouses, newspaper archives, small town historical societies, not campfire stories, not paranormal TV shows, real documents, real names, real dates. Here's the proof. Route 66 runs 2,448 miles. It crosses 8 states. Built in 1926. Along that road, at least 10 towns nearly vanished. Every one has a paper trail. So why does this matter to you? These towns show you how America grows and how it forgets. What do you get today? 10 towns ranked, each one with the real story behind the haunted label. How do we get there? Town by town, starting with the towns that died the hardest way, one paycheck at a time. Let's go. Because the first stop already breaks a rule you probably believe. Here's a question for you. What happens to a town when one company owns everything in it? Not a trick question. It's exactly what happened in Picher, Oklahoma. Get this one wrong and you'll think it's a ghost story. It's not. It's scarier than that. This whole town was built on a foundation that was never safe. And nobody driving past on Route 66 knew it. In the early 1900s, Picher sat on huge deposits of lead and zinc. Companies rushed in. They built the houses, the stores, the schools. But they owned all of it. When mining stopped, the town had nothing to stand on. Not just financially, literally. Picher grew almost overnight. By 1926, over 14,000 people lived there. During World War I, more than half the lead and zinc for the U.S. military came from this one small spot. That's not a small town story. That's a national one, hiding a quarter-mile off Route 66. So how did it fall apart? Decades of digging left the ground hollow underneath the town. Mining companies left behind giant gray piles of toxic waste. Locals called it Chad. These piles grew so big they looked like mountains over the rooftops. Gray, bare, blocking the sun off half the street by afternoon. Picture standing in Picher today. The old high school still stands. Doors unlocked. Textbooks still sitting on the shelves, covered in 10 years of dust. Nobody came back for them. Nobody ever will. And Picher wasn't alone. A few miles up the same road sat Cardin, a smaller mining town that fed workers into Picher's mines. Same story, same collapse, just smaller and even less remembered. In 1983, the federal government called it a Superfund site, one of the most polluted places in the country. By 2000, only 1,600 people were left. Then a tornado hit in 2008. After that, almost nobody. In 2009, Picher stopped being a town, officially. Let's pause here, because this is where most people get it wrong. Picture a house with a cracked foundation. You can paint the walls, fix the roof, make it look perfect outside. But if the foundation's cracked, that house is coming down, no matter what you do to the outside. That's Picher. It looked fine on the surface for decades. Underneath, already gone. I used to think abandoned town meant people got scared and ran overnight. Picher wasn't like that. It was slow. It took almost 100 years. The danger built quietly, mine shaft by mine shaft, under people's kitchens, under their kids' bedrooms, until the ground itself gave out. You probably think haunted town means a gunfight, or one tragic death. Picher isn't haunted by one event. It's haunted by an entire system that collapsed at once, after rotting for decades right under everyone's feet. That's a different kind of ghost story. A town killed by its own foundation. But not every town died slow like Picher. Some vanished almost overnight. And the reason why might surprise you. Here's what's at stake in this next stretch. Get it wrong, and you'll think these towns were just unlucky. They weren't. They got hit by one of the worst disasters in American history, and Route 66 ran right through the middle of it. In the 1930s, drought hit the Great Plains. Farmers had stripped away the grass to plant crops. Without that grass, wind picked up the dirt. It turned into black clouds that blotted out the sun for days at a time. People woke up with dust on their pillows, inside their own homes. This was the Dust Bowl. Route 66 became the escape route. That's why they called it the Mother Road. It carried people west toward a new life. Here's the town that shows it best, Texola, Oklahoma, sitting right on the Texas border. In 1930, Texola had over 500 people, cotton gins, hotels, a busy little downtown. Then the Depression hit. Then the Dust Bowl hit right behind it. Cotton prices crashed. The farms that fed this town dried up, sometimes literally. Families packed up and left, just like families across the whole region. Some drove west on Route 66, chasing work in California. Others just walked away. By 1990, Texola had shrunk to about 45 people. Drive through today, and here's what you'll find. A stone jail, standing alone in a field, door hanging crooked on its hinge. The old Magnolia service station, pumps still bolted to the ground, paint peeled to bare metal. It's actually listed on the National Register of Historic Places now. Storefronts with the glass still in the windows. You can look right in and see the empty shelves. Think about a balloon losing air overnight. You wake up and it's not popped, just smaller. Quiet. Nothing dramatic happened while you slept. That's Texola. Nobody blew it up. It just lost air year after year. The first time I read Dust Bowl oral histories, I expected chaos, shouting, panic. What I found instead was quieter and sadder. Families packing what fit in a truck, leaving the rest behind. Furniture, dishes, a kid's bike leaned against the porch, like they were just stepping out for the day. That detail stuck with me. These towns aren't haunted by anger. They're haunted by emptiness. Nobody tore these places down. There was nobody left to do it, so the buildings just sat there, waiting for people who never came back. You'd think a ghost town is creepy because something violent happened. Not here. The creepy part is the opposite. Nothing violent happened at all. Life just stopped. And nobody ever pressed play again. But some towns didn't empty because people chose to leave. They emptied because the road itself moved. That's a very different kind of death. This might be the biggest point in the whole video. Get this wrong, and you'll think crime or disaster killed most of these towns. It didn't. What actually killed them was a highway vote in Washington, D.C. In 1956, the government passed a law to build the interstate highway system. The goal was speed. Get cars between cities faster, skip the small towns along the way. Sounds harmless, right? For towns built entirely around Route 66 traffic, it was a death sentence. Take Glenrio, sitting on the Texas-New Mexico line. It was a strange little place. Bars only on the New Mexico side. Texas didn't allow alcohol. Gas stations on the Texas side. Gas was cheaper there. For decades, this odd setup worked. Motels, cafes, and gas stations thrived off travelers passing straight through on Route 66. 5 miles away, a smaller town called Amboy ran on that same traffic. In the 1970s, Interstate 40 got built a few miles from Glenrio. It didn't go through town. It went around it. Overnight, the paying customers vanished. Remember Picher and its cracked foundation underground? Glenrio's foundation never cracked. It just got left a few miles behind. And forgotten just the same. Stand in Glenrio now, and the old motel sign is still bolted to its post, rusted through, swinging a little in the wind. The rooms behind it sit open, bare mattress frames. A phone book from decades ago, still on a nightstand, nobody moved. One family, the Erismans, moved their store closer to the new interstate, hoping to catch the new traffic. It didn't work. By the 1980s, only 2 people still lived in Glenrio. Endy emptied out too. Here's a picture worth holding on to. A river used to run through a village, feeding it for generations. Then upstream, someone digs a new channel. The river doesn't dry up, it just moves. The village is left standing next to a dry riverbed, wondering what happened. That's Glenrio. The traffic didn't disappear. It just moved a few miles away and never came back. This is the one most people get wrong. You'd assume Route 66 towns died from crime or something dark. Most of them died from paperwork. A federal vote signed in some office building ended up gutting entire main streets 1,000 miles away. It's bureaucracy, not danger, that emptied these streets. Let that sit for a second. The scariest force on this list isn't a person. It's a signature on a piece of legislation. So far, every town on this list died from something explainable. An economy, a drought, a policy. The next stop is different. This is where the legend actually starts with real violence. Let's shift gears here, because the stakes change. Get this one wrong, and you'll either believe every scary story about this road, or dismiss all of them. Neither one is right. Some of what happened on Route 66 is documented, sourced, real. Route 66 carried huge numbers of travelers every year, especially in the 1950s, at high speed. On narrow 2-lane roads never built for that traffic, that combo earned the road a grim nickname. Truckers and Highway Patrol called it Bloody 66. Near Cuba, Missouri, in May 1957, a car pulled onto Route 66 from a side road, late at night, headlights cutting through the dark. It got hit by another car. 5 family members from Chicago were inside driving west. 7 people died on that stretch of asphalt, reported at the time as the worst highway crash in central Missouri in over a decade. Newspapers printed the names. The Associated Press ran the story nationwide. This wasn't folklore. It was front-page news, with a byline and a date. And it wasn't rare. Historians have found multiple deadly crashes on this same short stretch of road within just a few years of each other. Same blinker light, same blind curve, different families every time. So was it bad luck? Or was it just bad road? Some papers ran these stories as tiny filler pieces, buried in the back pages, because wrecks like this had become that common. Think of a busy kitchen, sharp knives, hot stoves, run by people with zero safety training. Eventually, something goes wrong, not because of a curse, because of the setup itself. Route 66 in its busiest years was just like that. Narrow lanes, high speeds, heavy traffic. Eventually, physics wins. Here's the part that stopped me when I found it. The haunted label on stretches like this usually gets slapped on decades later, often by tourism boards or ghost tour companies chasing a marketing angle. The original event is real. The haunting part gets added afterward, like a coat of paint over a true story. Separating the real tragedy from the added legend. That's the actual reveal here. This road didn't need ghosts to be dangerous. It was dangerous on its own, with real names attached to real dates. That pattern, real tragedy, added legend, shows up one more time before we close this list. And it might be the strangest case of all. Here's the stakes for our last stop. Get this one wrong, and you'll think every ghost town on this list is a finished story. It's not. This last one is still happening, right now, while you watch this video. Not every town on Route 66 died completely. A few are hanging on with just a handful of people, refusing to fully disappear. They're not history. They're a process still in motion. Take Amboy, California, out in the Mojave Desert. In the 1950s, Amboy had close to 700 people. Many worked round the clock at a famous stop called Roy's Motel and Cafe. Then Interstate 40 bypassed the town in the early 1970s. Population collapsed. By recent counts, Amboy has had as few as 4 residents, at times officially 0. A businessman named Albert Okura bought the whole town in 2005. Paid for it out of pocket, just to keep the building standing. Stand there today in the heat, and here's what surrounds you. A gas station still open, that giant neon sign still glowing over an empty desert highway at night, buzzing in the silence with nothing else around for miles. Travelers still stop for photos, snap a picture, and leave. Nobody stays. It's a town for people passing through it, not for people staying in it. Think of a patient on life support. The heart is still technically beating, but almost every other system already shut down. That's Amboy, technically alive. Functionally almost gone. I expected the scariest town on this list to be the one that's fully dead, the one with nobody left. It's not. The scariest one is the one still barely hanging on, because it proves this isn't just history. It's still happening. Somewhere on this road right now, another town is losing its last few people. The most unsettling town on this list isn't a story from the past. It's a warning about the present. Route 66 towns aren't just something that died decades ago. They're still dying today. 10 towns, 8 states, one road that quietly built up and then quietly erased. More American history than most people realize. And that's exactly why this channel exists. Here's the one thing to remember. History doesn't disappear all at once. It fades a little every year. Quietly. Until one day you look up and it's almost gone. Remember that town from the start of this video? The wind. The open doors. Nobody home. It's still standing out there right now exactly like that. So are the other 9. So are hundreds more. All along the same road. Some of them you've probably driven right past. Never knew what you were driving over. So here's what I want you to do. Comment below with the town you'd visit first, or tell me if you've already driven through one without knowing it. Then hit subscribe. Because this road still has stories left to tell, and I'm not done finding them. Some roads just carry cars. This one carries what America forgot. Real places, real records, no filler.